Wake Up and Live by Dorothea Brande. The revelation of ourself is the journey of waking up, as in know thyself, which is my first point. Energy is correctly used not by spending it to hold ourselves inactive, nor by spurring ourselves to unproductive, sterile activity, but only when it is at the service of the maturest and comprehensive idea of ourselves that we can arrive at. The idea behind this is that this journey is about knowing yourself, learning about yourself, accepting yourself, and allowing yourself to express. And to the degree we do this, we begin to understand the cause and effect relationship between our inner world and our outer world. We also find a deeper level of connection, congruence, and trust with our inner voice. We have then a higher degree of discernment of the various information and the circumstances that present itself to understand from a deeper perspective of knowing thyself and assisting and guiding others in the outer world to also find and know themselves. Because it is through the authentic expression of being and allowing others to authentically express and be that we create what we call spirit of harmony, benefit for us, others, divine, and evolution. What this highest idea is will vary from individual to individual and will expand with growth. What is the highest idea? What is it that you truly desire to see? What do you want to express? The clues have always been there. The question is, do we honor what we receive via our inner voice and have it externalized to reveal more about ourselves and also experience the beliefs within ourselves that we can then express and choose to evolve to bring us more in alignment with higher self, thus even leading to higher degrees of knowing thyself. And no outsider, it says here, can dictate another's private definition of success. Now, success really is what it means to you. We might be inspired or even look to the outer world for inspiration and guidance and revelations to reflect upon ourselves and understand what we choose so that we can move forward with that to bring it forth and also realize about ourselves. And through the journey, we find our own pathway and our own way and our own unique definition of success. The actress who reaches the top of her art is as successful as the mother who raises a large and healthy family, but not more so. A priest or minister immersed in the care of his parish lives as successful a life as the genius whose name is known by most of his contemporaries. Another's ideal of success may have so little in common with our own that we are quite blind as to what he can see in the career he has chosen. In other words, it's important then to understand ourselves so we can understand others, so we can realize the contributions that we make and the contributions that others make, and be in the spirit of harmony to what Stephen R. Covey calls interdependence. You have dependence, independence, and interdependence. Interdependence is very much in alignment with the concept of mastermind. She says, but unless we are totally unimaginative, we know when we see him living responsibly, effectively, usefully, happily, making the most of his advantage and gifts, that we are dealing with a successful man. In other words, success leaves clues. We can find ourselves inspired and encouraged and uplifted by those that we see living their version of success. The clues are living responsibly, effectively, to a higher degree. This is an evolution, an ongoing journey. The realization of the higher self implies that this is an ever-evolving journey to higher states of consciousness and understanding of thyself. Thus, know thyself is an ongoing journey. But we will see more so that reflected in others what we want to see in ourselves, living responsibly, effectively, usefully, happily, and making the most of his advantages and gifts. It's the recognition that we all have advantages and gifts. And should we choose to apply these advantages and gifts in our creative process, what we'll find is that we will become more authentic in our expression, as well as identify who we really are more so each day, and thus really wake up to higher levels of consciousness, become more conscious, and bring more conscious awareness on our subconscious, and then truly live. Now, on the journey of creating success, or realizing what you want to realize, bringing forth a desire, you are given both a mission, which is the desire, as well as a process that is revealed to you via your inner voice. And the one thing we do in order to realize ourselves, realize the success, and grow and evolve ourselves is exactly what this statement, which is one of the most profound statements of the book, implies. Act as if it were impossible to fail. All that is necessary to break the spell of inertia and frustration is this: act as if it were impossible to fail. This is the talisman, the formula, the command, or right about face, which turns us from failure toward success. If who we are really meant to be is part of our journey of realization, and who we are really meant to be has been predetermined, thus all of creation is complete, and we are realizing ourselves and expressing ourselves, and to the degree we do that, we feel authentic to ourselves and we externalize it as authentic expression, and it is received accordingly and experienced as success. Failure, or the concept of failure, is moving away from the idea that we can know ourselves. The truth is that everything that is experienced in the outer world can reveal to us about ourselves based on our beliefs and assumptions that we assign to the five sensory data. People, environment, circumstance, and information reveal to us about ourselves and our perspective, or our congruence or lack of congruence in regards to knowing ourself, which is the connection to higher self. And this is done via our inner voice, knowing thyself. And as stated earlier, that the definition of success, no outsider can dictate another's private definition of success. This is really for you to understand, reflect upon, figure out, and externalize. It requires a certain degree of confidence, faith, and understanding. And through the journey, you will be given the tools, resources, insights, and perspectives to help you evolve in these areas, so the journey can be more joyous and flow-based to what you desire to create. You will find that if you can imaginatively capture the state of mind which would be yours if you know you are going toward a pre-arranged and inevitable success, the first result will be a tremendous surge of vitality, of freshness. Then, the long, dammed-up flow sets in, directly, irresistibly, turned at last in the right direction. The current gathers strength from minute to minute. What she's talking about is the concept of flow. Our goal, should we choose to go down this journey, is to find our flow, honor our flow, maintain our flow, and if anything appears to break our flow, we realize that it's only the appearance of it that breaks our flow, but it's really the belief within that we are identifying with the five sensory data element, and once we shift our perspective around within, whatever that five sensory data appears to be is actually contributing and enhancing and elevating our flow towards the destination of knowing thyself and bringing forth our version of success. You will find that each hour of unhampered activity opens out into a promise of others in the future. There may actually be some embarrassment from seeing too many expanding possibilities until you have learned to organize your new life. Once you choose to wake up and live by discovering yourself through the process of picking a goal or whatever you are inspired by and making a commitment to yourself that you are going to act as if it was impossible to fail, you begin to move into flow, and then synchronicities, opportunities, and resources appear in such abundance that one has been wondering where it has been prior. As Napoleon Hill said, in Think and Grow Rich, when riches appear, they appear in such abundance, one has been wondering where have they been hiding in all those lean years. Riches are not just in the form of money, but they are in the forms of opportunity and resources that guide you in the right direction of fulfillment, that allow you to contribute to the lives of others, the awareness of what is around you to a higher degree of gratitude in people, environment, circumstance, and information. These are the resources that are available, that have always been available, but appear more so based on the externalization of this state that she refers to. The state of mind which would be yours if you knew you were going towards a prearranged and inevitable success. Those fears, anxieties, and apprehensions you see were far more than mere negative things. By acting as if they were important, you endowed them with importance. You turned them into realities. They became parasitic growths, existing at the expense of everything that is healthy in you. The idea behind this is that whatever shows up that reveals to you based on past programming is interpretation, and we can change the meaning within to not dwell upon it. And a good video to watch that emphasizes this is the 7-Day Mental Diet by Emmett Fox. So it's not the negative thoughts, it's the dwelling upon it that brings us in the direction of encouraging and experiencing and creating unnecessary conflict that doesn't need to be there because it is not in relation or harmony to the ideal pathway that we choose to be on to create what we desire so that we can understand ourselves even more, thus waking up and living. The law of nature is, do the thing, and you shall have the power. But they who do not do the thing have not the power. We all know what we have to do. It is guided from within via our inner voice. It is a result of seeking within and finding counsel within to know more of ourselves, and no matter where we are in the journey, we know what to do. And that step in the right direction is in the spirit of harmony, benefit for us, others, divine, and evolution. And upon honoring that move and moving in that direction, we externalize it as flow. We experience it as flow, and we move forward in the direction of what we desire to create, thus acting as if it was impossible to fail, which in deeper introspection we'll realize it's a form of being. Being externalizes accordingly as the reflection of the being, which is the true self, which is a result of honoring the being, which is also part of the experience of getting to know yourself. Now transfer in imagination that success sequence to the work in hand. If you are absolutely certain that everything about the present work would go as smoothly as everything went when you succeeded in the past, if you know that what you are beginning would certainly go well from the moment you begin till the moment of the work's ultimate reception, how would you feel? How would you act? What is the state of mind you would be in as you launch out into it? When you have found the mood, hold it steadily for a while as if waiting for a word of command. All at once, you will feel a release of energy. You have received from yourself your working orders, and you can begin. You will see that you no longer have to push yourself to do the work. All your energy is free to push the work alone. It's the idea that we have to force ourselves to the destination, when there are many ways to get to the destination, and we can choose to find, honor, and be in our flow, which is our natural state. As mentioned, there's a few ideal states we want to be in. We want to be in a state of flow. We can be in a state of rejuvenation, conscious rejuvenation. We could be in a state of cause and effect reflection, or reflection as an inner voice conversation. Or we can end up in a state of force or in a state of stagnation. Force or stagnation is something that I discussed in one of my recent videos that I recommend you watch, to release from stagnation. And when we choose to find ourselves, move forward with what we desire, act as if it was impossible to fail, by understanding the state of mind, going into the state of mind, and as we remain in the state of mind, we'll notice that we get the ideal action that we take, and we move forward towards our destination. And we do this by stepping into the flow in the process of taking that action, as ideas, hunches, plans, synchronicities reveal themselves to contribute And if anything shows up that appears to break our flow, then it's really just a matter of reflecting. During reflection, cause and effect, what belief we are identifying to whatever has broken our flow, changing the belief around so we feel less reactive and more proactive in that particular experience, in that particular interaction with people, environment, circumstance, or information, to bring us actually then into a higher level of flow. We call this transmutation, changing the meaning from the undesirable over to the desirable. She says, it was that unnecessary labor of pushing your own inertia aside, which made it seem before that you were too hampered to get started, were groping through a fog to get at your object, or were stopping continually to brush away half-realized doubts, anxieties, memories of failure that buzzed about you like a cloud of gnats. Clear all that away before you begin to work by the simple expedient of refusing to contemplate the mere possibility of failure. It's the dwelling upon the idea of failure that has the ability to move us in a direction that we do not desire. It is not the thought of failure, but we can choose to release the thought before we begin to dwell upon it or identify with it. Next, work till you feel the unmistakable onset of true fatigue. True fatigue. The early flagging of attention will be only the old state of mind trying to creep in, but once more, when your attention is elsewhere, if that happens, stop a second and say to yourself, no. In other words, release from whatever shows up that may appear to cause you to be reactive, and move yourself more into a state of mind of proactivity. In other words, looking at whatever shows up as an opportunity that will elevate you into a higher degree of flow or maintain your flow by changing the meaning of what shows up. That is the way I will not think. Clear out the impulse entirely and go on working. When your muscles and your mind honestly protest that they have done all that they should do for the time, stop and find some relaxation. So as mentioned in my video where I talk about releasing from stagnation, there's some ideal states of mind when it comes to creating success. Flow state, conscious rejuvenation, and relaxation. And also, there are states of mind that we choose not to be in. One being force, or any force-based activity towards the realization of what we desire to create, and the other being stagnation. And this is experienced throughout the journey, and we need to reflect to see what state of mind we are in and choose the one that is most in alignment with not only knowing ourselves, but revealing about ourselves, reflecting upon ourselves, and allowing us to evolve the beliefs within ourselves so we can be more in alignment with what we desire to create and our true self, which is living in a way that's right for you, which is essentially waking up and living. Do something every day toward your intention, however remote your goal may have to be. See, the idea of this is that the entire journey is about revealing about yourself and waking up to be more conscious in your living, realizing that most of what we were living was based on programming that we might have assimilated from our past that has created us subconsciously in a way to move down a certain direction. As we release ourselves from this programming, we become more conscious in our identification of what is truly important to us, in other words, our higher self, and living from the perspective that we want to live, which is what we call flow, or conscious reflection, or conscious rejuvenation, which does not need to have force-based expression or force-based communication or stagnation-based experience that causes fearful, doubtful, resentful thoughts towards ourselves and others. Always, your first question to yourself should be, what would I be doing now if it were really impossible for me to fail at? Whatever it is, traveling, modeling, writing, farming, it may be any of these things. Whatever it is, by thinking, you can discover easily what the first step would be if you were engaged with reality and not with a dream of a different life. In other words, your true life is doing what you truly desire to do, is expressing yourself authentically, which reveals any kind of incongruences or inconsistencies, which you can evolve through observing those beliefs that you have identified with that has formed the current self-image, evolve that more in alignment with your true self or higher self-image. And as a result of doing this, you will notice that you will find that you will automatically choose to be in flow, honor your flow, and live in your flow as you creatively express. And this process then will be an automatic manifestation of acting as if it was impossible to fail. In other words, you will be in alignment with the journey more so of discovering yourself and expressing yourself and creating what you truly desire in a way that is right for you. And through this, you'll have a higher degree of discernment of the outer world, people, environment, circumstance, and information, and a greater ability to transmute the undesirable into the desirable meaning. If you want to copy this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.